Jake Paul has gone from being a so-called embarrassment to boxing to embarrassing pound-for-pound boxers like Terence Crawford, Tyson Fury and Errol Spence with his approach. Social media antagonist Jake, who knocked down and defeated UFC legend Anderson Silva in a 187 pounds catchweight bout, has irritated boxing fans ever since he and his brother Logan Paul stepped in the ring to fight fellow YouTubers in amateur bouts in 2018. But the anger of hardcore fight fans is better directed at boxing's elite, because Jake Paul has built up a 6-0, 4 KOs, record by doing something plenty of boxing's world champions are unwilling to do, putting himself in genuine 50-50 fights that he has every chance of losing. Insiders complain that he is yet to fight a real boxer, that his opponents are mainly semi-retired MMA fighters with limited boxing experience. And remind us, who was Floyd Mayweather's last pro bout against? Also, Silva was only a narrow underdog going in against Paul. He's a highly decorated combat athlete, one of the greatest strikers the octagon has ever known, and his boxing experience was roughly equivalent to Paul's. In fact, the Spider defeated an experienced former world champion when he upset the ill-disciplined Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. last year. Silva is 47 and past his athletic prime, but their bout was Jake Paul's 6th fight as a professional. In Floyd Mayweather's 6th pro contest, he stopped 19-8 Bobby, the nobody Geepert in 2 rounds. In Anthony Joshua's 6th outing, he was a 200-1 odds-on favorite before blasting out part-time actor Matt Legg. With due respect to all boxing's brave journeymen, were Geepert and Legg much better than UFC icon Silva? And, unlike Mayweather and AJ, who had won Olympic medals before turning pro, Paul had a grand total of 1 amateur bout. The formula for Jake's marketing success is picking high-profile opponents whom the audience believe is a genuine threat to beat him. Plenty of combat sports analysts predicted even an aging Silva would be too much for the problem child. Just as many said the same thing about Tyron Woodley, and before him Ben Askren. This stands in stark contrast with numerous top-level boxers who rely on their status or alphabet titles to sell fights, or are more interested in protecting unbeaten records than facing a real challenge. Jake Paul captures an audience by actually agreeing to what should be a highly competitive fight every time out. Contrast that to one of the world's best boxers, Terence Crawford, proving unable to agree a deal with eternal rival Errol Spence. So taking on David Avanesyan, Crawford is a 14-1 odds-on favorite. Meanwhile, heavyweight champ Tyson Fury arranges a 3rd fight with 38-year-old Derek Chisora, having pummeled him twice already. The main knock against Jake Paul is that he has never fought an actual pro boxer in his limited career so far. But he's picking opponents who have broadly similar levels of inexperience to himself, and he has attempted to take on 2 boxers, only for the supposed professionals to let the side down. Tyson Fury's younger brother, Tommy, himself part reality TV star, but with an 8-0 pro record, has twice signed to fight Jake Paul. He's withdrawn both times. Paul also had a date set to fight Hasim Rahman Jr., son of the former heavyweight champ and owner of a 12-1 win-loss slate, only for Rahman Jr. to serially fail at making the contracted weight. Spence and Crawford failed in negotiations to make a fight this year. So in Jake Paul's attempts to fight a so-called real boxer, it's the more experienced professionals who have caused the cancellations. If anyone is harming the reputation of the fight game here, it's not the 25-year-old social media star. It's undeniable that Paul's fame and purses do not balance with his abilities as a boxer. But boxing has never been a meritocracy. It's whether there's an audience to watch you, rather than skill level, that dictates how much a fighter earns. There's also evidence that while Jake Paul wouldn't make anybody's list of the top 10 cruiserweights in the world, he probably isn't even top 100. He has improved remarkably. The crude slugger who bludgeoned a crouching Anisangib in his pro debut or crushed Nate Robinson on the undercard of the Mike Tyson vs. Roy Jones exhibition, inspiring a ringside Snoop Dogg to burst into song, has added finesse. Given his late start in boxing, it's highly improbable that Jake Paul will ever get close to the sport's highest levels. But he has improved significantly under trainer BJ Flores. The brash, blonde American has gone from a total novice with raw power to a better balanced, more fundamentally sound boxer, albeit one who still understands his best chance of winning is dropping his right hand on his opponent. Ed Mulholland, Matchroom 7 Jake has come a long way from his bouts with Deji and Anisangib. After a close first fight against former UFC welterweight champion Woodley, Paul blasted him unconscious in the rematch, his picture-perfect co-winning ESPN's 2021 Knockout of the Year award. Against Silva, Paul showed patience when he was being outboxed early on, stayed compact and gradually took over the fight. Unlike many technically superior skilled boxers, Paul is working hard to improve his craft, comes in shape, makes weight, and prizes competitive contests above mismatches. Yet some would have you believe that he is the problem within this sport. Then there is the fact that Paul has played a role in the burgeoning rise of women's boxing. As manager of Amanda Serrano, Paul helped make her Madison Square Garden showdown with Katie Taylor and has boosted the profile and earning power of the 7-weight world champion, one of the 3 best female boxers on the planet. There's also no questioning his ambition, with Paul saying he eventually wants to fight everyone from Canelo Alvarez to Floyd Mayweather. About that would do enormous business. Mark Robinson, Matchroom 7 Jake Cole promoted arguably the biggest female boxing match of all time when Katie Taylor fought Amanda Serrano. For everyone mocking those lofty goals, it's worth remembering that Jake remains a 6-0 novice, and is what he's doing with the likes of Silva and Woodley really that different to what Mayweather did for his 50th official fight, when he took on boxing newcomer Conor McGregor? At least Silva actually had several boxing victories, unlike the notorious Paul may never get to his ultimate goals of a Canelo or a Mayweather. There is every chance he could suffer a defeat long before that, simply because he has the courage to take on competitive contests every time he steps in the ring. There are plenty of far better boxers than Jake Paul who could learn a lot from his approach.